Is it possible to trace a Twitter account to an individual in a way that would allow them to not simply offer the defense that they were hacked? Good afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the automatic defense where a lot of people have when they, post something insightful or something that's, draws some of the public ire, the first response is usually, that they've been hacked. We've seen it. It's not a new excuse being offered. I think we saw it a few years back with Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, where she alleged that her Twitter account was hacked when certain statements were made. And it's something that's cropping up every so often because it's a useful excuse. It's one of the more difficult things in the kind of work that we do is actually pinning the individual behind the computer or behind the phone at the time that those statements were made.
So is that the fundamental way in which you work, that you're looking to trace an account to a device and then the device to an owner, or, as I'm sure it is it much more complex than that?
Yeah, the work that we do is based on open source investigation work. So we actually use the tweets or the images or the actual behavior of the individual to try and firstly profile them, and then secondly to pinpoint that account to a specific individual. In the case, for example, earlier, or at least in last year, we identified two individuals. The one person was behind the Tracy Ziller Twitter account. The second individual was behind the Lerato Pillay Twitter account. And in both those cases, we could use breadcrumbs or digital breadcrumbs, if you will, on those accounts that eventually led us to that specific individual. And although in isolation, all of these little breadcrumbs might be, considered a coincidence, when you start adding all of them together, it becomes very compelling.
News.
Experts.
Analysis.
Where things stand.
What you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman
On 702.